Welcome in to another edition of the Stripe Show podcast, not just any edition. This is the 200th episode of the program, and we are doing it big this time. We've got a major champion on, and when you're going to have a major champion on, you want to have a major champion from the week of the major championship, and that's exactly what we're doing. Four-time PGA Tour winner, 2003 champion golfer of the year, and a member of the 2008 winning, by the way, Ryder Cup team. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Curtis. Ben, thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, thanks, Froggy. Great to be on.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'll never forget that week. I mean, that was an amazing week, and I'm sure if I remember it, you must remember it like it was just yesterday.
Oh, I do. Parts of it, especially this week, when the week comes, it's very special and brings back a lot of memories. But, had a lot of fun that week, and truly everything just kind of came in together. It's just one of those things. Every time you win, that's kind of what happens. But to happen in my first start in a major was just truly special, and to be in one of the biggest tournaments in the world, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to that. So it is. I mean, you say that really nonchalantly. Your very first time. I think one person's done it since then. Keegan Bradley won his first chance in a major.
Right.
So it's your first chance in a major. Had you played links golf? Had you seen a lot of links golf?
No, I played the World Am in Germany, and it was the closest thing. It labeled itself as a links course.
Right.
It kind of reminded me of Carnoustie a little bit. Had trees on that perimeter, but nothing in the middle. And but yeah, that was the closest thing I saw. I mean, they had the bunkers just like you see what we'll see this week. But again, I don't think it's true links because it was inland, not on the coast.
Right. Now, you gained entry into the British back in 2003 with a T13 at the Western Open a few weeks prior, and you got in. When you were going into the tournament, did you think you had a chance to win?
I wasn't necessarily thinking of winning. It'd be crazy to think that. I mean, obviously that's the goal every week, but at that point, I was just gaining experience, I was just trying to gain, confidence, is still trying to find my way around.
Right.
But, I played extremely well. The 4 previous starts, each week was getting better and better. So you see the trend. You see the stuff going in the right direction. Now, you just never know when that lightning's going to strike, right? And everything comes together.
Right.
And, but it was, I could see parts of it, but to have it happen that week, no, I didn't see it coming. My goal was to make the cut. That was the main goal, really.
Right. Well, coming down the stretch, do you look at the leaderboard? I mean, here's Vijay Singh, Tiger Woods, Davis Love the third, Nick Faldo's up there, Sergio Retief. They're all in the top 10. Are you looking at that leaderboard? Do you know where you stand?
You do. I did. I tried to stay away from it, but when I got on 12, it was hard not to. It was right there. Andy, my caddy, was like looking over me. I'm like, what's he looking at? We were kind of waiting a little bit. And then I found out what he was looking at, and I peeked over, and there it was. And I saw I had a 2-shot lead at that point. And, that's really when the nerves started kicking in. At that point, I was just riding that high. The whole thing the night before, I kept telling myself, if I just hit the fairway in the first hole, I'm going to win. And so I did. Yeah, I didn't stay in the fairway, hit and rolled into the semi-rough. But I went on, made birdie, and it just really put the pressure off until the 12th hole. And then I looked over, but I always looked at the leaderboard, always kind of knew where I stood. It never really affected me too much. And especially at that point, it really gave me confidence after that week to be able to handle that. So every time I was in contention, it didn't faze me too much.
Now, did you go early on Thursday? Were you in early Thursday, late Friday, or late early?
No, I was late early, so I got the good end. We had the clear skies, but we had a little more wind. But other than that,
were you watching early Thursday when you were watching to see exactly what the golf course was given?
Yeah, so that's the beauty over there. Back then they played it from 7 o'clock until the last ball went in. So you could watch it on BBC. It would change channels between BBC 1 and 10, but but you could watch it from, basically from the first guy teeing off till the end.
And so you watched it. Do you remember seeing anything early on that Thursday that gave you a chance of whether you were a little worried or you thought, hey, maybe I can get it?
Well, I saw what Tiger did, obviously, and that's losing his ball and go back to the tee. And, So he hit it right, and I get up there. I was extremely nervous and snap hooked it left, and luckily they found mine and scraped a par out of it. Made like a 40-footer for par. So that's kind of how my open started. But yeah, I did watch quite a bit. You like to see you have a pretty good idea where the pins are going to be, but you don't really know where everything else is. You don't. Obviously you could watch it all day, but never be in a spot that somebody was in. But you can learn a lot, see how the ball's breaking, if it's rolling out extra, stuff like that.
Had you played a lot of practice rounds? Like, when do you get a chance? I mean, you could go early, but did you play like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday leading in?
I played, actually, we got there Friday before, and I played Saturday, Sunday, nothing Monday, played Tuesday, and then just 9 holes on Wednesday.
9 holes Wednesday. Now, yeah. I've heard this story, but maybe some people haven't. If you could tell a story about who you sat next to on the flight headed over.
Oh, that was funny. I get waking up in the middle of the flight with elbows in my stomach, and we were sitting. Candace was sitting next to Jermaine Jackson, and I kind of looked at her, was like, so, and went back to sleep. And then I wake up when we landed, and she was talking to him, and I got the whole life story from the airport to our apartment that we rented that week. So.
It really just adds to the craziness of the week. You go there, you win, you come home. And I'd seen a story that coming home, you heard a lot from legends that were congratulating you on your way home on your victory.
Yeah, I mean, I got letters from Nicholas and Palmer, but I talked to actually Tiger because I was with his agent because I was with IMG, and he was on the flight to Cleveland, the direct flight, so they were on our plane. And so he was talking to Tiger as we were walking through the airport. And so I spoke to him for a few minutes, but yeah, just, a lot of, old friends, a lot of colleagues that I played with on the mini tours and, stuff like the college with that got a lot of calls from. It was great to hear from. Like Zach Johnson was one of them, and, who got his card later that year. And then, we know what he's done since.
Right.
So it's been pretty cool.
Now, as you're on 18, I know you had to get up and down. You were over the green, over the back of the green, and had what anybody would call an easy up and down. And that putt on 18 was how long for par?
It was about 10 to 12 feet. I don't know exact.
Did you know the magnitude of what that putt represented? Because at the time, I believe Thomas Bjorn still has not made double on 16 yet, or you don't know he has anyways.
I didn't know, and I think I heard it was pretty much simultaneously. Basically, I'm chipping, he's hitting out of the bunker.
Right.
I tried to make the chip. It wasn't that hard of a chip, even though it was fairly long distance from the hole. But it was just get it on the green, start letting it run, and so I wanted to be aggressive with that. It got a little bit maybe more speed than I wanted, but still left myself a decent putt. Just a fairly straight, little left to right, but maybe just on the edge, just out. And when I was over, actually, I was just thinking, if I make this, I'm going to keep my card for the year. That was kind of my focus. It wasn't this, and I kept telling myself, just make a good stroke, just make a good stroke. I kept saying that in my head. Probably said it 20, 30 times. As I'm reading the putt, Philip Price was putting as well, and so it gave me an opportunity to kind of block everything out. And so, yeah, that's what I tried to do. And then I hit a good putt. As soon as I hit it, I pretty much knew.
You knew it was going in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Thomas Bjorn still had 2 holes left to play. So he makes the double on 16. Then he makes another bogey, correct?
He 3-putted 17, but he was a long way. I think it was on the far left side of the green.
Right.
And then missed like a 8 foot or something like that coming back, if I remember correct. But I didn't get to see it because I basically was thinking playoff, and with all, I was probably more nervous afterwards.
Really?
I was thinking, well, playoff, you're getting pushed 100 different directions. Candace was there, and they were like, well, you should go to the range, she should stay here. And it was like, oh, if I had it over again, I'd love to, she should have came to the range with me, or I should have stayed with her. And
right.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you wish you could do differently, and that's just a small thing. But
now, past Open champions get automatic eligibility until 60, I believe. Obviously, this week, with it already have started, you're obviously not there as we're talking to you from Ohio. Do you plan on playing in the Open Championship again?
I do not plan to. I want to go back, especially uh, when it goes back to St. Andrews where they have the dinner and all that. Love to do that again, whether that be next year or 2026 or whenever it goes back. So we'll see. But I no plans to now. But 10 years ago, I would have never told you I wouldn't be playing golf right now. So who knows?
That brings me to another question. I do want to get to the fact that you're not playing golf and why. And I know it's a decision that you made on your own. But as we have the Open going this week, what is the key to winning at this golf course? And is this a case of accuracy trumps length, or is length always going to be accuracy? And because it's always different over on a links course.
I think accuracy is definitely more important. Now the length will help if you hit it straight, but if you're not, it's more precision, and then staying out of those bunkers. The key there, like the fairways are kind of upside down bowls, so to speak. So, it hits in the middle, but it runs off towards the side. So, so length isn't everything. It does help when you're in the fairway, and you do. But if you drive it straight and you chip and putt it really well, you're going to do fine there. And that's a key pretty much to every Open. I mean, you still have to hit the good shots, but iron play. But it comes down to the difference between the guy that just makes a cut to the guy that wins and hitting is it's a very small number, right? It's couple more greens, maybe a couple feet closer on average, but it's not a significant number. But where you'll see the big differences in the putting.
Right. Who do you like this week?
Well, that's $1 million question, right? But,
it is.
Shoffley, I think, is really close to being due. Oosthuizen as well. With his run lately, obviously he has the confidence. Hopefully, he's won it before. Then Rory, somebody like that. It's hard to say because very few guys that get off to the lead Thursday end up holding. So, but we'll see how it plays out. Again, it's deeper than it's ever been, right? I mean, I think you got probably 120 guys that could win. It's just a matter of who shows up, who plays well.
Right. You won in 03. Darren Clark won last time it was there in 2011. So does this course lend itself to somebody who hasn't won a major before? Does this course is it more open? Is it more open field?
I guess so. Maybe because of the patience part of it. Like, I've heard people talk about it's like playing on the moon there, but you got to be extremely patient. So the guys that are patient have a really good chance. And I remember there's weeks I was extremely patient, like I was that week, but there's other weeks where I wasn't playing good. I was, wasn't patient. I was forcing the issue, but I think, it's hard to say. These guys are well prepared. We were watching the other day, and someone said, I was at the locker room where my golf academy is, and the shoe guy, locker room attendant, he was like, look how many people are with these guys. I'm like, yeah, they got their swing coach, their putting coach, their nutritionist, they got their trainer, they got their head guy with the psychologist, and it's like, these guys are so prepared now, and that's I think why you see a lot of these young players winning so early too.
I mean, it feels like, and we had John Daly on the podcast just yesterday, and he said that right now these fields are so deep, the talent level is so deep that these young kids can win just as much as anybody else can win.
Yeah, they do. I mean, look what Wolf did. I know he's extremely talented, but he comes out with first few starts, wins. Jordan Spieth, same thing. I mean, these guys are not afraid anymore. I mean, I was so nervous the first 5-6 months of my rookie year, and these guys are not. They don't care. They don't. I mean, I'm going to say they don't give a shit, right? They come out there. Like I was out there, I'm like, oh, Nick Price, Nick Faldo, you got, Marco Miri, you got Tiger Woods, you got Ernie Els, VJ. I was so nervous that I didn't even shake VJ's hand the first time I played with him at Bay Hill. It's like, I was so nervous to go over to see, but he's not like going to come over and just like shake. You got to go to him, right? And we were walking off the tee box, and I'm like, "Hey, VJ, I'm actually playing with you today." you know, and he was great about it, but it's just one of those things. These guys don't care. I mean, they're out there for their own, to win and and they have the game to do it. So.
And it's good to see, we have young guys winning, but then here we have Phil wins the PGA. Lucas Glover just won. It's good to see that, every now and then these other guys kind of step up. Phil really rose to the occasion at the PGA and kind of went out there in what they thought was not going to be a great golf course for him. And he went out and took it away from everybody.
Exactly. I mean, I remember like Lucas and I grew up basically playing junior golf against each other. And obviously he was from South Carolina, and went to Clemson, but we saw a lot of each other in junior and amateur golf. He's always been extremely talented. He kind of, had a struggle there. And I would say, what did he win the Open in 10?
Yeah, it's been a little while. Yeah.
I mean, I think I saw something the other day. He won in early 2000. He won in 2010 and 21. I think he's like one of 5 guys on tour in different decades of the 2000s. So, it just shows you that, if you keep working at it, the talent doesn't go away, right? Lucas, his talent's not going to go away, but it's all the work that you got to put into it to sustain that. And
right.
That's where I think you see the burnout, at least in my situation, and probably multiple of other players. So.
Right. Now you won 3 more times on tour. Did you find it? Obviously, your first win very early on, you win a major, you win the 2003 Open Championship, but then you won 3 more times and you're on a Ryder Cup team. So a very well accomplished player. Did you find it as hard to win the second, third, and fourth time as it was to win that first time?
Well, I think the second time for sure was, just getting that monkey off my back, so to speak, just waiting.
Right, that you weren't a one-hit wonder. You weren't just a one-time
right deal. And the talk of it after 2 more years on tour was kind of that. And and after the end of 05, I was kind of really sick of it, so to speak. And
right,
so I worked twice as hard as I did the previous year. And that's the thing. I tell these kids within my golf game, I don't care what I tell you, but the harder you work and the more time and effort you put into it, obviously you got to do the right stuff. But if you do it, like, results will come, right? And you will benefit from it. You may not see it tomorrow or next week, but you'll see it down the road. And so it's it's a tough game. And once you think you got it figured out, it comes back and gets you right.
I hate nothing more.
But that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I think like I'll be on my way to the golf course. I'm like, hey, I'm going to play well today because I've been hitting it good. And you get to the golf course and you go on the range and you hit it good on the range and you're like, I got this. And then you get out on the golf course and it's awful. And then I've had the complete opposite where I'm like, I just hope I can keep it on the map today and I can't hit it on the range. And then you get out there on the golf course and you make everything. It is such a, it's hard.
It's the mental. I think when you're on the range and you're not hitting it good, it makes you focus. It gets you really dialed in. When you're hitting it good, you think, you almost get overconfident. You think you're the best player in the world.
Right.
And then it just shows you that, any given day, that's why there's so many different things out there you can do with your golf swing. Like I tell kids, if there was a perfect way to swing it, wouldn't they have figured it out? And wouldn't we all swing it the same way? But we don't.
But nobody swings it the same way. It's like I've got an 18-year-old son and he'll say, I don't like the way my swing looks on camera. And I'm like, okay. Well, I said, well, Jim Furyk probably didn't love the way his swing looked on camera, but he's made a hell of a career out of it. It's not really how it looks. It's the ball doesn't lie and the divot doesn't lie. And if that worked, then who cares?
Yeah, I mean, just watch the ball play. That's what I tell the kids. Watch what the ball's doing in the air. And it tells you a lot. My swing, we watched a little highlight the other day. My son wanted to watch it as well. He's 14. He's playing, and he's like, I want to watch. So we YouTubed it, put it on the TV, and I'm like, oh, look at that swing. But I told him, I said, I knew what the ball was doing at that time. And especially the good players, they may not be hitting it perfect, but they know what the ball's doing and have a shot that you can rely on too. When things went bad, I just hit it like a big cut, and just wait for it. And just
now,
were
you a tinker? Were you a tinkering kind of guy? Did you mess with your swing a lot? The reason I asked that is John Rahm just came out and said he doesn't tinker. He doesn't care what anybody else does. He's got his swing. It's the way he's going to swing it, and that's just him. He's not a tinkering guy.
Yeah, I mean, I tinker, but I think when I play my best, there was no tinkering. It was just really just do the fine, make sure ball position, just a small thing, make sure rhythm was good and all that good stuff, and you know, and adapt to the situation, But that's, I think, another thing these guys do so well. They adapt to the conditions they're playing. But no, I didn't tinker too much.
You didn't. So you made that 2008 Ryder Cup team. You made it on points. It wasn't you weren't a captain's pick or anything like that. Not that there's anything to be taken away from that, but you play your way onto the Ryder Cup team, and you guys won handily at Valhalla. What was that experience like? Talk about it.
Well, I don't know if we won handily, but I mean, I guess the singles went the way we wanted it to.
Yeah. You won your singles match.
I did, and I remember we were sitting there. Paul was doing the thing, and it was my rookie one, and I played with Stricker in the best ball format and on Friday and Saturday, and I remember he's doing the list, and he puts me down at 11. I'm like, "Are you sure?" A rookie, and it's going to come down to me. He's like, "I think we're going to be good. And he had our whole pod. Stricker, I think, was right in front of me. Stewart was just in front of him, and then Stricker was behind me. That's it. Stricker was behind me.
He was the anchor match.
He was the anchor, and then I was right in front of him, and then Campbell. I was right behind Stewart. That's what it was, and then Campbell was right in front of him. He goes, "I want you guys to, you can never tell how we were playing by looking at it." Right, that was his thing. He goes, "You guys are the even keels, and you go out there, you don't show them. You guys are gonna be my rock, But, and it gave me confidence. I'm like, this guy, this is Paul Azinger, our captain, telling me that he wants to put me at 11, and Stricker was probably third or fourth, fifth in the world, something like that at the time. I mean, so yeah, he might have been number 2. I don't know, but whatever he was, it was like, oh. But he had the fiery guys out front, right? He had Phil, AK, the fiery Boo, all those guys that kind of got the momentum going for us. And obviously, I think that's the tone too. But and Paul was so great. Like, it was such a great experience. But he made it. He put like, I've always played that underdog thing, right? I grew up on a small public course, was never the flashy guy, and never, I was number 1 ranked amateur in the world, but yet no one knew who I was, right?
Really?
But everybody knew. Yeah, but everybody knew who Jordan Spieth was, John Rutt, when these guys came out, right? But no one really. But so I kind of used that as motivation as well, and that's kind of how Paul did it. So I think it really fired us up, and he was so good at that, and it was a lot of fun.
Was that Ryder Cup experience important to you to make that team? Was that a big deal?
I think it was, because I had a chance, obviously, my rookie to make the President's Cup, and I was talked to Jack, and I was on his radar, but just didn't quite get there. And yeah, so it's always something you want to play for your country, obviously. And I think it really solidified my career. Like, I think it made the decision not to play again. When I decided to put it up, it really, made the decision easier. I've accomplished everything, right? Won a major, won a couple other tour events, played in the Ryder Cup. I mean, other than playing a President's Cup, what else can you really do in this game?
Right.
Other than rack up titles. I mean, when I was 15 years old, if you would have told me that I'd accomplished that, I would have signed that in a heartbeat and never played a tournament again. So, but yeah, it definitely was one of those things that the only thing I was hoping that the next time around was to go to Europe, because I think it'd be fun to play on that soil, just to have that experience.
Correct.
Because I'm used to having the crowd kind of behind me, even though I'm an American, but you're playing in the British, right? You've won the Open and stuff, so that you kind of get that crowd behind you. It would have been fun to have them actually rooting against you for a week.
Right, exactly. The team atmosphere is obviously hugely important, and it sounds like you guys had a really good. Paul was able to get that team atmosphere.
Yeah.
With the Ryder Cup, we've got President's Cup this year, Ryder Cup next year coming up. There's a lot of talk about Bryson and Brooks. Do you think that's a situation where they could be on the same team and it would work, or do you think that's a problem before it's even getting started?
That's a good question. I think, Steve would, he's the type of guy who he's a lot like me, with the Ryder Cup coming up at Whistling Straits. He's probably the type that wouldn't want that drama, right? He probably just keep them separate just to avoid that.
Yeah, because chances are they're both going to make the team.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if not, one of them's probably going to be the pick, right? I mean,
right.
I mean, they're two of the hottest names in the world, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, I think remember when Hal Sutton did it with Phil and Tiger, right? How'd that turn out, right?
Didn't work out too good.
Right. So it can work out, I'm sure, but it'd be a tough call to make. That was the thing. I remember talking to Paul. This is kind of what he did. He's like, here's my idea, and who do you get along with, right? And then he even called us. Like, he even called, I made the team, and then he called me like a week later. He goes, hey, I'm asking everybody, who should, here's the list I have of who we should pick, and who do you want in your pod, and and we kind of gave our thoughts and stuff. And, he pretty much had his mind made up, I think. But, the captain coming back to us, especially for someone that wasn't playing at the time, like Stricker's still active, playing and all that. So he still has those relationships with those guys. Whereas Paul was kind of outside looking in. But for him to do that, I thought was pretty cool.
Rapsodo Mobile Launch Monitor. Improve your golf swing today. Pro-level launch data in the palm of your hand. It is very accurate, within 2% of a $20,000 unit. The Rapsodo MLM app automatically tracks stats and stores video with Shot Tracer, helpful for club gapping and understanding true distances for each club. Rapsodo MLM provides immediate feedback, data, and creates a better practice environment, not mindlessly hitting balls. Extremely portable, cases about the size of a rangefinder. And you know what? You can use it both indoors and outdoors. I love this launch monitor. It's the Rapsodo Mobile Launch Monitor. Check it out at rapsodo.com, rapsodo.com, rapsodo.com.
Yeah, Paul's a good guy. He really is a super good guy. Was a great captain. I mean, that really worked out well. But the team atmosphere really is so important because there's a lot of talent on both sides.
Right.
But if the team chemistry doesn't work, you could see it, like you just brought up when they did the Tiger Phil matchup. It just didn't work. Like now they appear to be buddies and everything appears to be great. And they've played this match together that we've seen on television that now it's kind of turned into Brady and playing with Phil and Charles Barkley and all the guys they're doing. But it didn't work then. It probably work now. But that team atmosphere is so, so important.
It is. And it's tough, I think, because they were trying to one-up each other, right? Not necessarily like to say, but just for, not ego, but just for career purposes, right?
Right.
They both wanted to be the best player to ever live. And I think it's tough, right? I don't know if Jack and Arnold always had the best relationship at the beginning. I would imagine it was probably some fighting or not fighting, but I think they've always been professional about it. But it's just like, Jack always wanted to be the best. I'm sure Arnold always wanted to be the best.
Right.
But it's a tough thing, and then, but yeah, it's funny because like when we did it, I know I keep going back to it, but Phil, I didn't hardly see the other guys. I mean, I just saw Stricker, Stewart, and Chad. I mean, it was like we sat at the same table every night. We played practice rounds together. If we rode in the bus or whatever, cars together.
Right.
I didn't hardly see the other guys.
Really?
Basically after the event was over is when we saw everybody.
So your pod kind of stuck together.
Yeah. Like we ate lunch together. We ate, when we went out to watch a little bit on, I think it was Saturday, I went out to watch a little bit. I watched Stewart and Chad play their alternate shot together. And it was fun, so it's like I didn't really see what everybody else was doing.
Right. Now, in 2017, you decided to stop playing professionally, and has obviously not a case of age, obviously not a case of you can't play golf. What was the reason in 2017 that you're like, I'm just not into this anymore?
It was a couple years running into it. It took a while, but I just wasn't putting the effort into it and the time, and obviously the results weren't. I wasn't playing well at all, and you could see it. I come home for 3-4 weeks and hardly touch a club, maybe a couple days before I left, and you can't do that. The guys are too good, and And so it was like I was burnt out, and I came home from Valero, and Candace, my wife, she's like kind of put not the hammer down, but she kind of is like, you either got to go all in or get out. And she's like, I'll support you either way, and just whatever you do, but you got to go in or you're out. And I said, I'm out. I didn't even think about it. I said, I'm out.
Wow.
So, but
and you stuck with that decision.
Yeah, I don't regret it at all. I mean, it's great to be around my son, either getting ready to go into high school with my daughter as well, and they're playing a little bit of golf and other sports, so it's great to be around, to be a part of that. And
Yeah,
you only can do that once, right?
Once. Yep. Nope.
I mean,
100%.
In 5 years when they finish, I'll be close to 50. I can go play the seniors if I want. But
yeah, would you do that? That was actually my next question. It's funny. So you actually read my question.
I don't know if I would or not. I don't know. I say no now, but maybe the urge to travel a little bit and to get out. Kids will be in college, and so who knows?
Do you miss the game? Do you miss the competitiveness?
No, not really. Actually, I mean,
You don't.
playing stuff here just for fun with the buddies, and just like we'll play a little game, but I'm not even that into it.
All right, so hold on. So you play with your buddies. I'm guessing you kick your buddy's ass on a regular basis.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you are still a major
shots.
champion and a PGA Tour pro. I mean,
I have to give them shots, right? But that's the beauty of the game. We can do that. Like I could give guys shots and go out there and play, but and have a fun match. But yeah, even then, I'm like, oh, it's all right, whatever.
right now, do you watch much golf?
Well, my son does more than anybody, so he'll put it on. So if we're sitting around or grilling out or whatever, we'll watch a little more than majors.
Did you watch the 2019 Masters when Tiger won again?
No, I did not.
You did not?
I didn't watch that.
Wow. Wow. I would have thought for sure Sunday because he had a chance. I would have thought, everybody was watching that.
Everybody was. I forget why, but I watched a little bit. I watched Phil this year. My old caddy, Ricky Elliott, caddies for Koepka. So every time it seems like every major I'm watching in now.
Which, by the way, I love how that last week when Bryson and Tim split and Koepka puts out, I want to make this National Caddy Day because I couldn't do this without my man Dick Elliott. I'm like, Brooks just never misses a chance to just take a shot ever.
He does it. I think it's what motivates him. I think he likes that little, somebody to kind of get him fired up, right? I think he needs that little bit of motivation to help him. But I talked a lot with Ricky and stuff over the last few years, and he's a great guy. He's a lot, and I met him a few times because I was still playing when he was obviously working with Brooks at the end of my career. But he seemed to be. He just doesn't. He doesn't care. Like he's one like we mentioned earlier. Just whatever.
Right. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
I'll say something controversial. Who cares?
Right. He doesn't care. You know what? I kind of like it. I know some people don't. We've had Brandel Chambly here on, and Brandel's not a fan. Brandel wishes it would stop and doesn't think it's good for golf. And then everybody's entitled to their opinion. But
that's kind of funny though, because he'll say
eyes on our sport. Right.
Brandel will say stuff that's kind of controversial, but
right.
Hey, I'm not trying to start a debate here.
No, it puts eyes on our sport, whether it's good or bad. It still puts some people to see it that wouldn't normally see it. So, how often are you at the Ben Curtis Golf Academy? Is that something you do every day?
It's not every day, but I basically 4 days a week. So I have about 30 students that I work with or so, and it's kids that want to do what I want to do. It's 12 to 18 to have those aspirations to play at the next level and possibly pro. Maybe, or even, I have some kids that they just want to get better and, make the varsity team and, right. Maybe see where that takes them. So it's been very rewarding. It's a lot of fun. It's more than just how to hit it from point A to point B. It's, all that other, the preparation, the work ethic, the practice habits, the, tournament, what tournaments they should play in. Because, hey, some kids, they're probably not going to play Division I. They're probably good enough to play Division II or III, but
right.
But you go where you can play, right? Give them advice on that. So if Kent State, which is where I went to school, it's right here in town, and they got a great program. if they're recruiting you, but you feel like you can hardly play, why, maybe not, that's not your choice. Maybe going to Mount Union down the road might be a better option where you can play every day. So just giving them advice on that, just helping them navigate I know what I went through, especially in that recruiting process. My
Right.
parents had no clue. My school had no clue, and the kids aren't getting a lot of support from their schools. Right. So
Right.
it's a great way to help them in that regard. So,
And then what are you and Candace doing with the Family Foundation? I know you guys are doing your part to help families that are in need of food.
yeah, Candace, she runs it. We help feed kids over long weekends throughout the school year. So the Ben Curtis Family Foundation, we started with 100 bags back in 2013, and we're now up to 4,800 bags a month. 7 different school districts. We also do a really cool Christmas program where the families come in. We give gifts to 500 different kids, but they come in with their families. They have a buffet style dinner. We did it virtually last year, but this year, hopefully, we can get back to doing it normal. They come in, they get pictures with Santa, and then they leave with their gifts. So it's, without the support of our volunteers and our local communities, obviously the money is important, but all those little things, just like I tell people, it's all the little things, right? Golf, it's just, hey, do you have the right alignment? Do you have the right ball position,
Right.
right tempo? It's the same thing with this to help us, make it successful, is just the volunteers and, obviously the donations as well. But and the schools are great to work with. So it's been great. It's been, obviously very rewarding, but, with this pandemic, it really opened everybody's eyes to, I think,
Yeah.
just the basic need. And that's what, if you only got $5 to give us, at least you're making a difference in someone's lives. And that's kind of how we look at it.
Yeah, it's awesome that you guys are doing something to help the community that you live within and making it a better place. Because, a lot of people they can help and they think that, I'm not going to do enough to help, but every little bit does add up. And if everybody does a little bit, then every little bit's a lot when it comes down to helping people who are in need, who can't help themselves.
Exactly. I think, what a lot of people, like we feed these kids, it's about $4 or $5 a bag for the time. So through the 10 times throughout the school year, you're helping these kids, and it's, they're getting fed at school, which is great, but it's just those long weekends and when they're home, it's very tough. And like you said, just the little things, anything you can do, just, extra toiletry or an extra box of cereal can make a big difference.
Right. Are you playing golf this weekend, or are you going to watch some Open?
I'm going to watch the Open. I got a bunch of Academy stuff tomorrow and Friday, or today and Friday, and then I'll watch it this weekend.
I got to ask, what's your handicap right now? It's a plus. I'm guaranteeing that.
Just playing an event in Hawaii, and I played horrible. I shot like 77 every day. That was back in February, and then
I give anything to shoot 77 in every day.
It just depends on where I'm playing, and some days I could shoot, like I played our local club a couple weeks ago with my son. I shot like 68, but the next, I think we went out like 2 or 3 days later. I think I gave up on 3 holes. I hit it in the junk, and I just like, all right, it's enough.
Okay, I don't feel so bad now, because I got about 3 holes when I play 18, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick up. I'm not gonna make myself crazy out here.
Yeah, so
it is crazy.
Now that I don't play, right? It's just like if I hit it, I'm like, I'm not even looking for it. It's just
what goes first. Speaking of somebody who has been at the highest level, and now you're just playing like this, what goes first? Is it the short game that goes first?
For me, I've always been a straight driver, and that's kind of what ended my career too, is I just couldn't get into play very well, just being a head case. And but the short game does go, but for me, hasn't been as drastic as the driver. But I do notice, like, a couple of times I'll have an easy chip, or I think is easy, and I hit it to 10 feet, right? So it's just inconsistent. I think that's what goes away more than anything, is the inconsistency. Some days I'm okay, and some shots I'm okay, but then the very next one could could be ugly or duff it 3 feet in front.
Right.
But
I'm very good at that. If you ever want to know how to do that, I have got that shot down pat 100%. But Ben, thank you so much for your time, man. Congratulations once again on your 2003 Open Championship, the Ryder Cup win, just everything. Congratulations on your career, and congratulations on what you're doing to help the community there in which you live.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on, and best of luck to you. Congrats on your 200 show too, by the way.
You got it, man. You were episode 200. That will always go down. Ben Curtis, episode 200. It'll be easy to find.
And it was my dad. So speaking of 200 shows, so we went to my dad was a big Packers fan, and I had to deal with the NFL. So this was back, I think it was 04 or 05. We went up to Lambeau Field, and I got him to Brett Favre's 200 straight start as an NFL quarterback. So speaking of 200, so every time I hear 200, that's what I think of. So,
well, I'm going to let you know now that we're done. I'm a huge Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and you know what we did to the Packers twice last year.
Well, you guys got the hot hand right now, which is great. It's great.
He just doesn't know how to. I don't even want to say it because our season's about to start again. It's like the guy's good at everything. Is there anything Brady's not good at? Have they figured it out? I think maybe golf is the first thing we found he's not great at.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's just very gifted, right?
It's unbelievable.
He looks good when he's yelling at people, you know? It's like...
He does. When we signed him as the Bucs, because I don't know how much you follow the NFL in a whole, but being a Buccaneers fan, we've been a pretty bad franchise. We were the losingest professional franchise in history. And I'm like, we're going to be the team that signs Tom Brady, and we're going to mess that up. That's going to be our legacy now, but we didn't. So I'm very happy for what we were able to accomplish last year.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's always had good coaches too, right? With them.
Yeah.
I mean, great offensive minds with Daniels up there in New England now. So he's fine. But like you said, he makes everything look good.
He does. Are you a big football fan?
I wouldn't say I'm religious about it. You know, I would try to watch every game. Actually, my son's a Packers fan, so he's always throwing that on there because he followed my dad because the Browns were so bad. I'm actually a Browns fan, but
I think the Browns are going to be good.
It should be fun. You know, 2 years ago they kind of had a lot of praise going into the season, and then turned out ugly. But I think they got the right coach now. I mean, he seems to be. He reminds me of Tressel in a way where it just like you watch him on the sideline, his demeanor doesn't change no matter if they're getting beat by 20 or up by 20. And
I still thought you had the Chiefs. I thought you had the Chiefs beat last year. I really did. That 3rd down and 13. I can't believe that Henny ran that far. I thought you had them beat.
Yeah, that a couple plays I think they wish they could have back, right?
Yeah.
That one. And then the previous possession, I think it was like 4th and 1 and they punted it, and it was like you got the momentum. If you give the ball, but you don't want to give them back to him.
Yeah.
I know
you don't give Mahomes the ball back.
Well, he was out at that point. Remember?
Oh, that's right, Chad Henne. That's right. Henny was out. Yeah, that's a good point. But even the rest of that offense is good.
He's like those guys are so explosive. You can't give them up.
Yeah, it's like the Packers in the NFC Championship game. They gave the ball back to Brady, and they should have gone for it on that 4th down.
Right.
I mean, as a Bucs fan, I'm glad they didn't. But giving the ball back to Brady with 3 minutes is not smart. I mean, you know what he's going to do, and he did what he does.
And I think from what I've heard, from what I know, I think that's why Aaron doesn't want to go back to the Packers. Right? So I think all over that one play, really. Because think about it, if he gets it and they win the game, they go and win the Super Bowl. This is or even just gets the Super Bowl. It's a non-issue, right? But
yeah, he didn't like that call, and he gets kind of razzed about it every time he turns around, and I don't think it's his doing. He wanted to go for it, but he's got to do what he's told. He's the quarterback. He's not the coach.
Exactly. Well, he can be a coach, right?
Right. He could. He probably could. I don't, Sometimes the great ones don't make good coaches because they realize the other guys aren't as talented and don't have the same work ethic.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, Ben, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all you have.
Have a good one, man.
You too.
I just want to interrupt this interview real quick and give a shout out to my friends over at Encore Golf. Encore provides some of the most cutting-edge technology in a golf ball that I have ever seen. Their team in Buffalo, New York is changing the script of golf technology through their perimeter-weighted designs, which offer players enhanced accuracy and control for every shot on the course. With their award-winning Elixir and Avant 55 golf balls, they are transforming the game for players of all skill levels. Visit encoregolf.com/Travis Fulton for more details about their products that are revolutionizing the game. Now back to the Stripe Show.